Hey everyone, it is day 3 of our Pilates challenge, and today is all about creating a sexy, supple spine, because when we have a really healthy spine, we create a lot of freedom, mobility into our bodies, which just means there's a lot more freedom in our movement and less pain, which is always going to be a bonus. So let's get to it, right? We're starting at the end of your mat, and we're going to start with roll down as we normally do. So feet are under your hips, nice and balanced across the feet, and we'll tall through the spine. Take a breath in, arms rise, and breathing out, we're diving up and over, lifting the belly, breathing into hold at the bottom, keeping balance in your feet. And breathing out, pressing the floor away. The pelvis tilts back and we roll all the way up. Breathing in, arms rise. And breathing out, diving back and over. Breathing into hold. You can again bend the knees if you need to. And breathing out, rolling your way up. Breathing in, arms rise. This time we're going to cactus the arms. So you're going to pull the elbows back. Chest bone lifts up to the ceiling. We rise up. And diving up and over, breathing in, hold, and breathing out, rolling all the way up, arms rise, we cactus, pulling the elbows back, chest bone lifts up to the ceiling, extending up, and we dive, and this time you're going to hold it down at the bottom, so bend the knees as much as you need to bring the hands down to your mat. You're going to walk yourself out to a plank, and then bring the knees down. Right, so we're in all fours here, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. If you're not quite there, you can always adjust. Right, let's do a little bit of cat-cow. Right, so if anyone's done yoga before, this will be quite familiar for you. If you haven't, all good, I'm going to walk you through it. So starting from your tailbone, right, we're going to tilt the pelvis back and roll all the way up through the length of your spine. Your hands are pushing the floor away and you're rounding the shoulder blades out. And then we go in the opposite direction. Again, starting from your tailbone, tail turns up to the ceiling this time. You feel your belly sink, your chest opens, and your eyes are going to look straight ahead. Right, and again from the tailbone, we're curling all the way up through the spine. This will be your angry cat position. And then we turn the tail up to the ceiling, rolling all the way up the length of the spine until your eyes are looking forwards. And again, breathing out, we round the body. Breathing in and find your extension. And again, flowing through. And breathing in. Right, now you're going to find your neutral position, which is kind of where we started, somewhere in the middle. And now you're going to look over your right shoulder, and now look over your left shoulder. Look over your right shoulder, so you get a little side bend here, and looking over the left shoulder. Right, and left, and one more to each side, and left, and back to center. Right? Now the hand closest to your screen is going to support your head and neck. We are still pushing the floor away here, making sure that we're in a neutral spine to start. You're going to rotate in so the elbows come in towards each other, and now push the floor away and we rotate out. Then you're going to rotate in, elbows maybe or maybe not connect, and then we open back out. Now with breath, breathing out to twist, breathing in, we open. Breathe out to twist, breathe in to open. So the lower arms stay straight and you're pushing the floor away at all times. Right, so this is purely a rotation exercise for your spine. Right, I don't want you to drop into the body at all. And do one more on the side. And you'll find your all fours again, and let's swap sides, right? So you're going to support with your back hand, the other hand furthest away from the screen. Again, just check in and make sure that your head is pressing into your hand. And now we're going to rotate in, maybe or maybe not, connecting with the elbows, and then push the floor away, open up the chest to the side wall. Rotating in, and rotating out. And rotate in, and rotate out. flowing. Once again, making sure that you are collapsing into the body here, right? There are no weird funny positions in the shoulder, but rather keeping the spine neutral and allowing the rib cage to spin around the spine. Now let's do one more. Right, and bring your hands down to the floor, and you're going to press yourself back into a child's pose. So the hips are sinking back into your heels. If you need to take the knees a little bit wider here, go for it. I've got my knees where they were, that hip width. I'm just going to relax the body down just for 1 second. So, you're going to reach the arms out in front now, right? We're going to come into a really nice mobilizing exercise. So again, you're kind of looking for that almost slippery snake feel as you do this one, right? You're coming forwards. Think of bringing your chest down towards your hands, right? Notice that I've got this curve through my spine, my hips are going to lower, and my chest comes up. The base of my ribs are still connected. I'm not actually doing much with the hands, right? They're really just there because that's where they started, so they've got to go somewhere. Now I'm going to push myself back to where I started. Right? And again, I'm going to snake my spine through. Notice my elbows are hugging my ribs. My chest lifts, my hips come down, and then I push myself back. And again, I'm going to breathe in to snake my spine, and breathing out, and pushing back. Breathing in to snake my spine. Now the head leads the way. Exhale, curl, and pushing back. And we're going to do that 3 more times. Breathing into snake. Exhale, push on back to child's pose. 2 more times. Breathing in and out. And last one, breathing in. Breathing out, push on back to child's pose. And hold. You're going to walk your hands in, roll all the way up. And we're going to come to seated. So just swing the legs around. Right, so I've got pretty flexy hamstrings. I've got no issue sitting with my legs straight out in front. But if you do, and you feel like you're getting pulled back a little bit, bend the knees. Right, you are right up on top of your sit bones. Your chest is over hips. Your ears are stacked right over your shoulders. You're going to take the arms out in front and your palms are facing down. Just be mindful you haven't pulled the shoulders forwards, right? We're still keeping a nice long neutral alignment. Yeah, you're going to take a breath in to prepare, breathing out. You're going to pull back through one elbow. You kind of have this little rotation that follows, the eyes follow the movement. Breathing in, come on back to center. We change sides. Breathing out to pull back. Breathing in, come on back to center. Breathing out, pull back. Breathing into center. Now notice that my arm movement here is staying in line with my shoulder, so there's no change there. No change in height, more specifically. I'm keeping my shoulders relaxed down and away from my ears, so my neck stays long and relaxed. Not necessarily my shoulders because they're working. Right, now let's add on. So you're going to pull the elbow back, hold. Now as the elbow is pulling back, your fingers are reaching forwards. That's going to help you twist. You're going to extend back, and now it's a big sweep to come back to where you started, right? You pull back through the elbow. Remember, as the elbow is pulling back, the fingers are reaching forwards. You're going to open up to the back, and then sweep around, you reset. Pull, open, sweep. Yeah? Pull, open, sweep. Now with breath. Right, let's do one more on each side. Pull, open, good, and last one, pull, and bring it back, and release. Very nice. So you're just going to move forwards a little bit so you've got space on your mat. Come on down to your back, and you're going to bring your arms out a little bit wider than your mat here, so giving yourself some space. We're going to glue the feet and knees together. And here we're going to start with a little very small twist for the low half. So you're going to take the legs over to one side and come on back to center. And carry the legs over to the other side and back to center. Now notice that as you're twisting here, because you're keeping the legs glued together, your feet will stack and you will feel the foot of the top leg come along for a ride. Yeah, that's all good, very normal. And that's actually what we want because it's going to help you to lead from the hip, which will get a lot of movement here and you will feel the hip come off the floor. However, we're trying to keep the shoulder blades really heavy. So if the shoulder blades are leaving the floor, your movement is probably a little too big. All right, let's make things a little bit more challenging. Right, you're going to bring the legs up to tabletop, so the knees are sitting over the line of the hips. You still have your legs glued together. We're going to do the exact same thing, but now that your legs are up, it's a little bit more challenging. So have a little sneaky peek at your knees. Make sure that they are still aligned. And by aligned, I mean together. Right, so if they're starting to split, you're leaving the hip behind, and that is not what we want. Right, one more on each side. And now that your waistline is awake, we're going to do little circles through the hips, right? So imagine that your hips are on a dinner plate and you're going to circle the plate along its edges, right? So the hips are the leader, the legs are just following on. And if you're working this correctly, you'll feel like you're getting a little bit of rolling and massage into your low back and tailbone. And then also, the belly and the waistline really start to kick in. Which is a little surprise for you. A gift from me to you, let's call it. Alright, change direction back the other way. Again, making sure that your legs stay together, they don't separate, because you're leading with the hips. And the upper body is still really heavy and grounded. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to center. Right, you're going to use your legs to help roll you up, and you're coming to your side. So, I have the foot of my top leg sitting in front of the bottom leg. You're going to make sure you're on the side edges of the feet, and the toes are pointing forwards. Your hands are down to the floor as well, both hands down, and the fingers are pointing away from you, so out to the side wall. Once you're there, you can kind of check and adjust and see if that feels okay for you. If the first few don't feel good, you're free to adjust at any time, right? So, we're going to take a breath in, lift up to the chest, lengthen up through the crown of the head. Breathing out, you're going to nod your chin into your chest, and it's like you're going to dive, right? We're going through the little window. Right, so the head comes through, you're pushing the floor away with the hands and the side edges of your feet. Breathing in, you're going to bend the knees, the hips come down, and we unravel the spine, come back up, breathing in. Breathing out, we dive. Push the floor away, spiraling to peek through the window. Breathing in, bend the knees, hips come down, and we open up the chest. And again, breathing out, spiral through. Breathing in, bend the knees, hips lower, and you lift up. 2 more. Breathing out, spiral through. Breathing in, bend the knees. Last one, breathing out. Breathing in, knees down, lift up. And you can swivel the legs around, and let's do the other side. So again, you have yourself on the side edges of your feet, your toes are pointing forward, remembering that the foot of the top leg sits in front of the bottom leg. Hands are down, fingers pointing away from you, they're out to the side wall. You probably have your hands roughly about shoulder width apart. Again, feel free to adjust if you need to along the way. Right, we're gonna square up, take a breath in and lengthen all the way up through the spine. And now breathing out, you're gonna dive. Nod chin into the chest, peeking through the window, push the floor away. And then breathing in, bend the knees, calming down gently, and lifting up through the chest and the crown of the head. Breathing up, let's twist and spiral through. Breathing in, bend the knees, hips down, coming up, and again. And breathing in, we land, we have 2 more I think, if I've counted correctly. Breathing out, breathing in, and last one, and breathing in. Nice. Right, let's finish with the legs crossed comfortably. Alright, you're gonna just let your legs relax down, find a position that feels good for you, where both sit bones and bone bits into your bum are weighted evenly into your mat. You're gonna take one arm over and just breathe, relax your shoulders. Now in this side bend here, let the hips sink back down into the floor, so you've got an even deeper side bend. And once you're there, now we're going to do some little rotations. You're going to rotate your chest down to the floor, keep this top arm reaching away, and then you're going to turn your chest back to me. Turn your chest down to the floor, reach, and then turn your chest to me, and we square up. And let's do one more on the side, rotating down to the floor, rotate back to me, and then you're going to reach up to the ceiling, and return to center. Let's try the other side. So coming up, we're going to side bend over and just take a little time here to settle. So you're going to kind of find space between your ears and your shoulders. Allow the weight of the hips to sink back down into the floor. And now once you feel like you are in your side bend, we can start our rotations. So we swivel the chest down towards the floor. Remember, this top arm is going to keep reaching away from you. And then you're going to rotate your chest back to me. And again, we go down to the floor. Top arm is reaching away. And then rotate back to me. And let's do one more. Rotate chest down to the floor. Back to me. We're going to reach up for the ceiling. And release. And well done, everyone. Day 3 done. I'll see you tomorrow for day 4.